Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Before we get started, I really want to thank you for volunteering to help do all the setup work for this next project that we're going to be doing for both math classes. I think that's absolutely wonderful that you've worked so hard and that you're willing to help your classmates have all their materials prepared for them. What we're going to need today in order to do this project, this setup project, is you're going to get your sheet of paper, your sheet of colored paper that we're going to be cutting. We're going to need a ruler, of course. We'll need a writing utensil, preferably pencil, but again, I always use a marker because it does show up better on film, but in real life, it makes such a heavy mark, you can't hide it. It's really overwhelming and it becomes a huge line through your artwork. So it's always better in real life to try to use a pencil because you can always erase the marks. But just for today, as always, for example purposes, I'm going to use this marker. And then of course, my handy dandy safety scissors. I love my safety scissors. Okay. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to take this sheet of construction paper, and everyone should have a different color of construction paper, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to cut this into 3/4 inch strips, all right? And I know that we've talked about measuring to the inch. We've talked a little bit about measuring to the 1/2 inch, and we've just starting to really get into measuring to like the 1/4 and the 3/4 inch. This is kind of difficult. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up the ruler and I'm going to show you on screen like this simply because it's so much easier for the whole class to see. Just bear with me. If I pull this in really, really close, okay, try to stay out of my own light, you'll see this is the 1 inch mark right here, this long line. Yes? Yes. Okay, right here in the middle. Okay, right there. Let me use my pen. Bear with me. Because I can point better with the pen, I think. My marker. Right there is the 1/2 inch mark. Okay, this one that kind of comes down almost as long as the 1 inch mark. Then the next one are the 2/4 inch marks. This is 1/4 and this is 3/4. This is the line that we're going to be measuring to, okay, for our classmates. This is about how wide we want the strips to be made. Right? Now, we've done this exercise before with 1 inch. Remember the beard from the leprechaun? We measured 1 inch strips. Well, we're going to do the same thing here, but to 3/4 of an inch. I'm going to see if I can pull this in nice and tight because I don't like how far away it is. Let's see if we can't just make it a little bit better and organize this a little bit closer so we can see. There we go. Okay, now it's the same principle, okay? You're going to go ahead and you're going to put your ruler down on the paper to the 0, not to the very tippy edge, but to that first mark. Okay, that's important because what happens is the rulers get beat up, they get broken on the ends, and giving that first little bit of space helps to preserve how correct your measurement is going to be. Okay, but you want to make sure that you start at that first mark, not the edge. All right, then I'm going to find my 3/4 mark. Again, I'm going to mark on here on my ruler, and you can see just so it's a little bit more evident. That's the 1/4. This one's the 1/2 mark. And then this one is the 3/4. That's the mark that I'm going to put a dot on the paper right next to. I'm going to do that on one side. And then I'm going to come over here And I'm going to do it on the other side. Again, I'm going to make sure I start at the first mark or the 0. I am not going to start at the very edge of my ruler. If I do it, my measurement's going to be wrong. So I'm going to go ahead and find my heavy mark at 3/4. I'm going to make my dot. And remember, we did this last time too. We did this with the beard strips. In order to make a straight line, we're going to use the middle of our ruler as a guide so that we have a nice straight line. There you go. Look how straight that is. And this can work around the house too, all right? So make sure you remember this tip and trick. Now what you're going to do is you're going to cut it. Could you honestly sit there and measure another 3/4 from there? Yes, you could. But the problem is that this line is so thick that it's going to throw off your measurements. So in order to make sure your measurements are as exact as possible, I want you to go ahead and make sure that you cut this line first and then measure the next one. See, like this. Let me pull out just a little bit so you can actually see what's going on. I'm going to take it and I'm going to cut. Okay, now I have a brand new, fresh, straight edge to measure from, whereas before I had kind of a thick line and I could have gotten it a bit crooked, and we don't want to make it a bit crooked, okay? So again, what we're going to do is we're going to start at the edge, not at the very end, but at that first mark. Don't forget. And again, we're going to put a dot here at 3/4, not at 1 and not at 1/2, but at 3/4. I'm going to come to the other side and put my ruler at the first mark. Your ruler may have a 0. Put it at the 0. And then I'm going to make my dot at 3/4. Here we go. And again, I'll use that handy dandy trick for making a straight edge by using the edge of my ruler. And I'll make sure that I hit both dots. I'll cut my strip and then start the process over again until I've cut all. My paper's arguing with me. And if you hear the slurping, that's Remy dog. He's decided he's going to drink while we're doing this. He's going to take a drink. So here's my strip. Okay, and then I want you to go ahead and continue until you cut up and mark the entire paper. Okay, if you have any questions, make sure you raise your hands, and I or Miss Bieber or Miss O'Gill will help you. Okay, thank you.